The ACLJ, Judicial Watch have equally on their own unearthed some of the most damning evidence exposing a two-tier justice system in terms of obtaining the Obama DOJ's immunity agreements with Hillary Clinton's attorneys, her lawyers, Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson, to dispose of evidence and refuse to comply with federal law. Now, trust me, Donald Trump would never receive this kind of special treatment. We have a full report tonight. But first, we begin. Democrats, the media mob, they have teamed up to accuse the president of racism. Oh, I forget which day of the week it is. It's always something. All because he dared to speak the truth. And we've got all the facts and evidence we'll lay out about what is human suffering, a tragedy, not just in the city of Baltimore, but in pretty much every liberal city across this country. Now, for months, we have been chronicling on this show what is the utterly preventable, unnecessary human crisis disaster in the most liberal cities in America, as the left attacks detainment centers for illegal immigrants. By the way, Griff Jenkins, last week, he took a tour of one of their larger facilities, you know, the ones that liberals have been comparing to Nazi concentration camps. Now, by the way, there's food, there's water, there's medicine, there's beds, blankets, pillows, medical attention, baby formula, diapers, soccer fields, other recreational activities, TVs, phones, all courtesy of you, the taxpayer. Not ideal, but they didn't respect our laws and sovereignty, and they're here illegally. But they're definitely trying. Now, meanwhile, a much different story. For example, in the city of Baltimore over the weekend, the president called out 13-term Congressman Elijah Cummings for failing to address what are the dire problems right there in his district, which is experiencing record violence, poverty, far worse than the facility Griff Jenkins went to, and corruption on a nearly unimaginable scale. Wait till you hear the amount of money I'm going to tell you about in a minute. Now, naturally, instead of focusing on the deteriorating living conditions in Baltimore, Democrats are now they're just defending Cummings with another round of identity politics, feigned, false, selective moral outrage, and, of course, attacking the president, calling him a racist as many times as they can, every second, every minute, every hour of every day, because the Mueller thing fell apart for them. He called Baltimore dangerous. He said it was rat-infested. Let's see. Just last year, the mayor of Baltimore, then Mayor Catherine Pune, literally said she could smell the rats when walking through a neighborhood in her own city. She said it. Watch.
About a year ago, city leaders identified some of the city's most violent neighborhoods.
What the hell? We should just take all this down.
To target.
Ooh, you can smell the rats.
Under Baltimore's Violence Reduction Initiative. Baltimore's Violence Reduction Initiative is about taking steps to rid communities of the cornerstones that contribute to crime.
Oh, my God, you can smell the dead animals.
Oh, my, you can smell them. The mayor of Baltimore said that. In case you were wondering, no outrage from Democrats over those comments. Also, no outrage when Senator Bernie Sanders compared Baltimore to a third world country. Oh, if you're a liberal, you can say it. If you're a liberal accused of sexual assault, like, the lieutenant governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, or if you're accused of rape, there's no I believers. It's only if you're with Trump, only if you're a conservative, only if you're appointed by Trump. Just like, obstruction of justice, Hillary can do whatever she wants. Trump has no obstruction, but we'll say he does anyway. Take a look.
The fact of the matter is that America is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But anyone who took the walk that we took around this neighborhood would not think you're in a wealthy nation. You would think that you were in a third world country. A community that does not even have decent quality grocery stores where moms can buy quality food for their kids. A community in which the dream of getting a higher education for many kids is as real as is going to the moon.
Bernie Sanders called Baltimore, a third world nation. Since then, the conditions in Baltimore, frankly, they have gotten dramatically worse. It is a crisis. The city's trash mismanagement, their rodent infestation has become so bad. A recent documentary entitled Rat Film highlighted the local government's massive urban planning failures. Vacant buildings line many streets in the west and east parts of Baltimore. All told, there are nearly 17,000 abandoned structures in city limits. The city's educational system, let's look at the records. It also is in a state of ruins. Look at the last year for which we have data, 2017. Well, investigation, zero. Pay attention, 0 students in 5 Baltimore high schools and 1 middle school were proficient in math and English. There wasn't 1 student proficient. You've got to be kidding. In total, by the way, a whopping 13 high school students had 0 students proficient in math. And just like Nancy Pelosi needs to focus on, let's see, the needles all over the streets, people urinating, defecating in the streets, the feces in the streets, in her home districts, well, it looks like the representatives that are elected from Baltimore need to focus on their disintegrating districts right before your eyes. Just open your eyes. Baltimore's unemployment rate is the 3rd highest of any major city in America. The poverty rate in Baltimore, a whopping 22%. Household median income is $11,000 less than the national average. But the most dire issue in Baltimore is its violent crime. Look at this, 2017, Baltimore named the most dangerous big city in America. That year, more people murdered in Baltimore than ever before. Now, if you look at it on a per capita basis, there were more than twice as many shootings in Baltimore than in Chicago. Yeah, that's Chicago. And in 2018, the city's murder rate was higher than in the country of Honduras. What? That's where citizens are fleeing to seek asylum at the U.S. border. And this year, Baltimore's murder rate is on the rise again. Through the first half of 2019, a 16% increase in murders, 28% increase in non-fatal shootings. It's no surprise that Baltimore is seeing a huge decrease in population. There's a mass exodus going on, and I can't blame people for this, losing nearly 300,000 people in just a couple of decades, including a 20,000 drop since 2010. New York Times, even the New York Times calling it the tragedy of Baltimore. Now, who can blame people for leaving? Just like they're leaving in droves as a mass exodus out of these highly regulated, high-tax states like this one that I'm stuck in because work makes me stay here, New York or New Jersey or California or Illinois. And without a doubt, we are now witnessing a human crisis. We've got to do better. The people in those detention centers that broke the law, didn't respect our borders, our sovereignty, they are living better than the people of Baltimore and other big liberal cities. How is that possible? But they're calling those concentration camps and comparing those to Nazi Germany. And the Democratic leadership in Baltimore, they have failed their citizens for decades. Liberal Democratic policies have failed the people of Baltimore, just like the people in San Francisco, just like the people in Los Angeles, New York City, especially under Comrade de Blasio and elsewhere. Now, Congressman Elijah Cummings seems like a nice guy. He's been in Washington for 23 years, all while his district is becoming worse and worse and worse. But, of course, he's lashing out at the president. And, of course, Baltimore is just one of many major cities run by liberalism experiencing these serious problems, which is why on this program we have investigated multiple cities which are deteriorating right before our eyes. Violent crime, homelessness, drug addiction, poverty, violence, wreaking havoc in metropolitan areas all across America, all while Democrats in those big city governments are unwilling or unable to address these very real problems. By the way, if you're going to leave New York, fine. If you're going to go to the Carolinas, if you're going to go to Florida, fine. Don't bring your idiotic liberal policies with you. If you're leaving the great state of California and moving to a state like Texas, don't do to Texas what you did to California, what you are now trying to get away from. And San Francisco, one of the most liberal cities in America. Now, imagine this. 1 mile from Nancy Pelosi's gated community home, 1 mile in the other direction to her office, the homeless problem there spiraling out of control, needles all over the streets, public defecation, urination, and much worse. L.A., we've gone to L.A. like we went to San Francisco, experiencing similar problems, yet the Democratic legislators there have failed to address these very real issues, which have very real consequences for everybody living in these communities. So tonight, as many in the media mob, they're just busy lashing out at President Trump. He told the truth. The evidence is overwhelming. It's incontrovertible. The statistics are there. If you really care about people, all you people on the left, if you care about people, how about you fix these cities? Because that's our national treasure. Our kids are dying, violence out of control, drugs out of control, and poverty everywhere.